Hi, I'm Christine Pender and I'm coming to you from Monroe, Utah. Today, for my dessert, I am making a strawberry and peach trifle. Now, tonight is family dinner night. Everyone's in town, everyone's home, so guess what? We're all gathering for our weekly dinner, and I have just enough time, 60 minutes, to complete this delicious dessert before family gets here. So, I'm going to go ahead and get started. For the cake portion, I'm using a 9x13 pan. I've sprayed it with some nonstick cooking spray, lined it with some parchment paper. Now I want it to hang over a little bit, so after it's done cooking, it'll be easy for me to remove from the pan, flip it on a cooling rack, and it'll cool very quickly because I only have 60 minutes. Top the parchment paper with some more cooking spray and set that aside. For the cake, I'm starting off with 2 sticks of butter that are room temperature. I am adding 2 cups of sugar. I'm going to whip this up until it's nice and fluffy. Now I have 4 large eggs that I have ready to go in. I'm going to add them one at a time, and I'm going to go ahead and mix this until it's nice and fluffy. Everything's creamed together, and then we're going to move on to our dry ingredients. Going on to our dry ingredients, I have here 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to add that in, all of that. Now I'm going to add 1½ teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. I'm going to mix all these together, and then we're going to finish it with some buttermilk and some flour. We're almost done with our cake batter. I have here 3 cups of flour. I'm going to add half. Mix that up. I have 2 cups of buttermilk. As soon as the flour is mixed, I'm going to alternate and put in half of the buttermilk. Alright, now buttermilk turn. I'm going to add in 1 cup of the buttermilk. Mix that up. I told you.
Told me what?
Mix that up and then alternate again. Be back in a minute. Our cake batter looks delicious. I'm going to pour it all into our prepared pan. We're going to bake it for about 25 minutes in a 350-degree oven. I want it to be nice and golden. I want it to be able to spring back when you touch it. Then it's done. So into the oven it goes. While the cake is baking, I am going to do the fruit, and then we're going to do the cream sauce that goes with the trifle. And so, first of all, it is not peach season quite yet. So I am using frozen peaches. I am using 1 pint of frozen peaches, 1 pint of fresh strawberries because they are in season. I have set aside some strawberries. I've set aside some peaches. They are going to go over the top. The best looking peaches and strawberries out of the bunch, even though I have to admit that was really difficult. The rest of them go in a saucepan. We're going to turn the heat on low. In here I have 1½ teaspoons of cornstarch. I have added 1 teaspoon of the juice from the fruit. I mix it up in a little container first because I know if I throw in the cornstarch, I'm going to get lumps, and I don't want lumps in my fruit sauce. So I'm just going to scrape that out and add that to the fruit. To this, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're going to mix it up. It's going to cook until it's thick, which is going to be about 5 minutes. We're going to set this aside so it can cool for our creamy filling. It's almost like a frosting. Today, we are going to use the Kraft Philadelphia whipped cream cheese. Now, this is airy and light. I'm going to use a whole 8 ounces of it. And by it being already light and whipped, it's going to make our creamy filling whip up into those stiff peaks that we need it to much faster. And remember, I only have 60 minutes to get this dessert done before my family arrives for family dinner tonight. To that, I'm adding 2 cups of heavy cream. I'm also using a 1/4 cup of sugar. Now I'm going to get my paddle on here, I'm going to whip it up until stiff peaks form, and I'm going to keep it in the fridge until we're all ready for assembly. And I'll see you back in a few. I'm also adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla to give our cream filling a little bit more flavor. Look at that cream filling. It is so nice and it has those stiff peaks. It came out beautiful. It sprung back to the touch. It did take my oven about 30 minutes to bake. It lifted out of the pan very easily using the parchment paper. I put it on the cooling rack. Now, when it starts cooling down, I did take my serrated cake knife, cut it in half this way and in this way, separated it just a little bit. It cools it down so much faster. 2 things. I like really thick pieces and really thick layers. If you don't, you can do one of 2 things. You can separate the cake mix and bake it in 2 separate 9 by 13 pans and get a thinner cake, or you can bake it all together and cut it in half, which is what I'm going to do today. And because we're having layers, it's not actually a cake we're frosting, it's going to work out fantastic. So we're going to take our first piece. I don't really like these ends to show through in my trifle dish, so I'm going to take these off, set them aside. I'm going to cut the cake in half, and we're going to layer them and squish them down in our trifle dish. I'm going to take some of our fabulous fruit that we have, lay it around. It did come out nice and thick. I want some of that fruit to show on the ends too in our layers. So that you can see it on the outside as well. Then we're going to add a good bit of our cream, and it is delicious. So I'm going to continue layering this, and I'll be right back to show you our finished product as we top it off with the rest of our berries. We're getting ready to finish off the top of our trifle. We have cake and berries and our fabulous cream filling with our Kraft Philadelphia whipped cream cheese. We have another layer. We're finishing off with a layer of cake, and I'm going to top with the rest of our delicious filling. It's going to cover the whole top. Now, I have my peaches and my strawberries. Kind of going to decorate them on top. That lets everyone know we have peaches and strawberry in our delicious trifle. And I love this. The peaches have taken on a nice tint of red from our strawberries. And they still have all that juiciness in them. Place a few more in the middle. And we are ready to go. Alright, so I am so excited. I have finished my strawberry and peach trifle in the 60 minutes that I have before my family arrives for family dinner tonight. You can see the layers and how colorful it is. I have the peaches and strawberries on top, so everyone knows it's a peach and strawberry trifle. It's so easy. It is ready to serve now. I want to take this opportunity and thank Paula Dean. You've really helped me step out of my box and start a new venture, and I really appreciate the opportunity. Kraft Philadelphia Cream Cheese, I want to thank you. You have helped me become more imaginative in what I use in my recipes, and you have showed me a new dimension of flavors, and I really appreciate that. So I hope you all enjoy this really fast and easy trifle. So thank you and good night.